deep into those issues, what you need to know, how you need to project yourself, the things you need to do differently, what are the common mistakes. We're going to be looking at case studies from successful companies and leaders that have used these strategies, and you'll see the difference. You'll see the difference. You see something we can both learn. I'll be sharing some from my own experience as a CEO running a large company. And I want to be able to say that learning is continuous for anybody in this trajectory. Even me, I'm still learning. I'll still continue to learn every day. You learn from other people, you learn from business experiences. We even learn from the business environment, what plays out in the business environment day to day, and happenings around us, even crisis, opportunities for learning. And we're going to be seeing that when we talk about situational leadership, where CEOs actually emerge and shine in crisis moments, things that they did not plan for, the things that come up, and the way they respond in those or at those moments actually have a defining trajectory in their business, in their career as a whole. So let's dive in together and we'll look at these things together. I'll be sharing two stories. The first one is about Netflix. Netflix was into DVD rental before. It was a business that was into DVD rental. And at the point where that industry was making a transition, there were some changes happening in that industry. The CEO with Hastings was faced with the challenge of adapting to change or sticking to the old format, which was DVD rental, which was big then, was a big deal. It was a big deal where big companies, multinational chains, going over the world in DVD rental. But with Hastings saw things differently. He saw the advent of technology, how technology was changing that industry. And he wanted to do things differently. And he actually did things differently by adopting technology. And that was the technology of streaming. He saw the future where streaming will overtake DVD rentals, will not be carrying DVDs about, will be actually streaming through the use of internet and broadband. And he embraced that change. Whereas another company called Blockbuster did not embrace that change. They took another route. They were hesitant. They felt that wasn't going to last. Internet will not be able to do all those things. And they went the other way, and that was a turning point for that company. We're going to discuss it deeper when we move into the deep dive discussion moment. But that's one story I wanted to share. The other story was the story of Apple, which we're going to delve into later. And how Steve Jobs, formerly kicked out of the company, came back again and revolutionized that company with his visionary leadership, his concept about innovation, his ability to think forward years ahead and even suggest things to customers that they did not even know that they needed or they will need in the future. So welcome to this live as we go deeper. So the first thing I'd like to discuss is to look at leadership versus management. This is a very good description. If you want to compare the two, want to compare between leadership and management, what would we say? The truth about it is that managers manage functions, they manage operations, they manage tasks, they manage processes. They also manage people to some extent. And whereas a true leader creates a vision, creates a future for the company, can see ahead, can see where the industry is going, can see where the company is going, and he sees the future, where the company is in the future. He sees it ahead. That is true leadership. And leaders create vision. And that vision, most of the time when they create that vision inspires other people and guides the entire organization. The ability to see ahead, just like a seer, to see ahead, to see the industry, to see the ecosystem, to see what is happening or what might happen in the future. Those are the things that leaders do. Leaders project their mind to see the possibilities, regardless of the challenges that may be in the ecosystem. or in the business market, on the environment. A true leader will look beyond that, will see what is possible. They have the audacity to believe, audacity to imagine. Their creative power is very strong. The ability to think into the future and to imagine possibilities regardless of obstacles. It's not that they are not fearful, but they do things despite their fear. And they are able to create possibilities, positive opportunities in their mind, even before those things materialize. They use their intuition and they look ahead. Whereas a manager just does what he has been told. He manages functions, he manages operations, sometimes manages people, but a manager really does not create a vision. Most of the time, managers cannot see into the future and envision what is possible even before it is possible, before even that capacity comes. For example, a leader can envision how big he wants to take the company in a particular ecosystem or industry, even before that company creates or gets that capacity or grows into that capacity. So what now you'll be looking for is, how do I connect the dots? How do I make sure that that capacity is developed over time? What are the things I needed to do differently? And those are the things that leaders do. So those are the two fundamental differences between leadership and management. When you move from management to leadership, you have to change the way you think. When I moved from management to leadership, I totally had to think the way I was thinking. The first thing I did was to create a vision, a new vision for the company, a strategy for the company over the next 5 to 10 years. I first have to imagine where the company is going to, where I want to take the company to, and where the board of the company would also love to take the company to. And I was focused on surpassing the expectation. That's what vision is all about. At times, when people listen to what you planned out, they'll think that you're actually crazy because they see the extent to which you have gone to actually stretch your imagination to believe that things are possible, even when it looks contrary. So at the end of the day, what you're doing is to make sure that you find a way to create a course for the company and see possibilities in your imagination, despite if you don't have the full capacity. The capacity can be developed over time. There's no problem with that. So that's the major difference between leadership and management. The fact that managers focus on executing tasks, operations, processes, deliver jobs. True leaders focus on creating a vision. That vision inspires and guides the whole organization. And that can only come for a true leader. And in doing this role, the leader continues to set that vision, to promote that vision, to embolden that vision, to cultivate that vision, so that the organization continues to be inspired to chart that course in that direction. The other thing that I like to talk about, which is very important, is the importance of vision and strategy. You know, a clear, defined future-oriented vision will inspire a company to innovate. If you see what you have imagined for the company, where you want the company to be in the future, it will actually help to stimulate innovation, because people will start searching for answers. How are we going to achieve this? How are we going to get to this level? What are we going to do differently? And they will start doing those things to make sure that they achieve the focus. Aligning teams together, able to navigate the market, the challenges, the market changing, the market structure that is changing, that keeps changing. These things will continue to happen, And also, when you do that, you find out that as you create a clear future for the company, people will embrace it. People will be able to see where they are in that picture. When they see the end goal, then they will be inspired to do bigger things. They'll be inspired to work harder. They will be required to work at the level of excellence that is required to achieve that vision. But if that vision, that future outlook is not projected, is not created for them in their mind, they will not be able to do it. They will not be able to, see that push that they need to actually embrace to carry them in that direction. Of course, as a leader, you'll be leading by example, modeling things for them and all that, which is good. There's no doubt about that. But the truth about it is that that vision is very, very important. And what is the strategy? How are we going to achieve this vision? How are we going to go from point A to point B, and how? Which medium, which platform, which are the deliverables? What are the things you are going to use to get to that point? You have to actually be able to put these things down, and there's no better way to create strategy by documenting it. Whatever you have in your mind, the truth about it is that you have to realize as a leader, God has given you powerful thoughts, a powerful mind, and a powerful imagination. And the kind of things you process are very powerful. You need to be able to document them as those thoughts, those imaginations are coming to your mind. Don't bother about how it's going to play out, the nitty-gritty. At first, document it, the possibilities. The nitty-gritty, how it's going to come about, can be developed, can be arrived at later. So you want to make sure that you document the thoughts you have, the ideas you have, put it down in writing. Make sure that you always have a notebook with you to actually write down the things that come into your mind, the beautiful thoughts you're having. God has given every leader a beautiful mind, and that's part of the gift of being a human being. So you look at it, you document those things, you meditate on it, look for how it's going to happen. What steps, how can we achieve this? And you can look at people that have achieved things in that route before, maybe people that have done things bigger than that, or something close to that, or something similar, not exactly. And you want to look at how did they approach it? What are the strategies they use? What are the steps they took? What are the things they did differently? You want to look at that and try and make sure that you address that issue and pen down a strategy, how it can work. Learning is very important in able to articulate strategy. You have to understand how to execute, how to implement ideas that come to your mind. Another way to do is by mentorship, having a mentorship relationship where you're a mentee to a mentor, somebody that has done something you're trying to do maybe 5 times, 20 times bigger, has a lot of exposure, even if he has not done exactly what you want to do, but can understand where you are headed, has a lot of business experience, leadership experience, can guide you along the way and tell you how to go. And that's how you can now find out how to document this strategy. You need to ask questions. You need to be open. You need to be humble. Don't assume you know everything. And as a leader, you need to be able to embrace input from other people and be able to make sure that you don't take anything for granted. Suggestions from people can help. Insights from magazines, from reports, from mentors, even from happenings in the business environment, things that happen every day can actually teach you 1 or 2 things on how to strategize. For example, you can just be listening to Bloomberg News, listen to business news, and you see discussions about other companies, how they're responding to change in their market, and you learn 1 or 2 things from just maybe a 2-minute clip that actually answers the problem that you've had in your mind. So as a leader, as a CEO, you have to expose yourself to a lot of information that will guide you. Books, news, business news, where you hear other CEOs talk, where business secrets, business strategies, company's trajectory are discussed on a daily basis. You pick a lot of insight, you pick a lot of learnings from those kind of things. For example, I like to listen to Bloomberg News. I listen to it a lot. And in listening to that Bloomberg News, I pick a lot of insight every day, learning how companies are responding to different situations, different challenges that I may be actually going through at that point in time also. It might be at times very, very coincidental, just an act of serendipity where what you are going through, you hear them talking about it on the TV, it's out playing in the US to another company or to the UK or in Europe, and you can learn 1 or 2 things from those tips, from those news, and you implement it in your own business as it is. And when you do this, you find out that can help you to actually develop your strategy and what to do and how to actually carry it out. I also like to look at leadership frameworks. I was talking about things, I want us to talk about things about situational leadership versus visionary leadership. You find out that this concept of situational leadership, as you know, at times some people push it to the extreme, but I'll try to explain it in my own words. It's like a leadership approach or leadership principle you implement in different situations. The concept of situational leadership says that there is no one street or one way to leadership. That leadership principles or approaches may vary according to the situations a leader finds him or herself. That's the concept of situational leadership. So when you talk about situational leadership, you want to believe that at some instances, the way a leader will respond will be different from another situation, given the experience, given what is beholding him at that point in time, reading what the situation is faced with at that point in time. This is true to some extent, but at times some people push it to the extreme. And this brings me to the concept of emotional intelligence. The truth about it is that as a leader, every situation, every crisis, every crossroad will not present the same way each time. It will never happen. It will never present the same way each time to you. So what you need to know is that in every situation, you might have to respond differently. And that's why the concept of emotional intelligence is too powerful. I have another video, emotional intelligence. I want you to start the playlist and click on that video to watch it. A full video on emotional intelligence, what and why is important for a CEO and a leader. But yeah, talking about institutional leadership, I found out that in institutional leadership, a leader makes a very powerful use of emotional intelligence because every situation is different. Every business environment or any business issue that presents itself to you as a leader, as a CEO, as a company will be different. It will be different from each other. There will be, at times there are some situations that be similar, but you find out that every situation has its own uniqueness and it might require a response, a particular type of response to that situation. That's why I agree with the concept of situational leadership. But at the same time, I want to believe that there are some core principles that should be core principles at all times. For example, things about business ethics, integrity, corporate governance, doing the right things, doing it properly, following laws, following frameworks, following standards, following regulation and things like that, and avoiding crime. Those things are basic. You can't say because of a situation, you now break corporate governance, you commit a criminal offense, with which you can be embarrassed later, you can be indicted, you can be taken to jail, you can actually be harassed. So the truth about it is that there are some things that are not malleable. There are some things that principles one has to adhere to at all times. But when you talk about situational leadership and when things present themselves, I want to talk about emotional intelligence here. The truth about it is that emotional intelligence will help you to be able to read your own emotions, read other people's emotions in a lot of situations, know what to say, what not to say, know what to do, what not to do. At times, knowing what not to say, knowing what not to do is more important than knowing what to say. Because knowing what not to say or what not to do in a situation can actually change the trajectory of that situation and turn it around to a bad issue. So most of the time, the ability to have that restraint, to have that emotional quotient, that intelligence to say that in this situation, let me keep quiet. In this situation, let me ask for this favor at this point in time. In this situation, let me make the demand. Or in this situation, let me call the price. Don't let me negotiate the price at this meeting. Let me negotiate it at the better meeting when the person has a good mood or he has a good mood, he's happy, or things like that. So emotional intelligence is very, very instrumental to ability to excel in situations where you have to manifest situational leadership. In times of crisis, unexpected happenings that come up, what you call the moment, a turning point, leadership skills. And what will help you as a leader in this situation will be emotional intelligence. That's what's going to help a leader. Emotional intelligence will help you to actually know what to do, what not to do, how best to respond. You're able to read the temperature in the room or in the atmosphere or in the business environment, taking cue from people's body language, what they say, what they don't say. And you'll be able to make a very good decision on what to do and what not to do. So that's for situational leadership. It's a good principle. The fact that a leader must be able to think on his feet and respond with a wealth of experience, the knowledge he has, the background, the educational training, you sum everything together, and emotional intelligence, respond and make a good decision. And when we talk about visionary leadership, you know, that's a concept where a leader steps back. It steps back from day to day, running of a business, steering the ship and all that, and is able to focus on the big picture. A leader is able to focus on the big picture and is able to look at things and do it differently, because he's looking at the big picture. He has a mind of what he wants to expect in the future, and he's looking at it and he's implementing those changes based on the future he has projected for the company.